So I don't know how well this is going to go, um, because I'm recording in a coffee shop in Aberdeen where I normally record at home. And of course, sometimes my internet can be a little bit sketchy. So we'll see how we get on. It's either going to work or it's not. I can always, make another one. But anyway, so I wanted to do a video for the last few days on holding space for more than one reality when you're exercising, but you're also on a healing growth journey. Because I think something that I find that has come up for me a lot has been, there's two versions of a reality that's kind of coming into play. There's the subconscious part that's wanting to stay in the uncomfortable comfort zone. And, with the being autistic, being ADHD, CPTSD, all the different things that make me a little bit more sensitive, these things can get really loud. And yeah, so I just wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that sometimes you can get really put off when you start on your fitness journey or changing your nutrition or anything like that, when it starts to get really difficult, when that initial motivation wears off and you're like, wait a minute, I'm not excited, this is not fun, and I'm not loving it. So you'll have noticed that I've started publishing journals, so ones that are relatively blank, but also ones that are guided, that are I'm thinking going to be live today, but might be next week before they're live. But journaling has been such a huge part of my own journey, because as I've been going through that growth and that and the healing and everything like that, I've still been doing my fitness work at the same time, and the journaling helps me to declutter my mind and kind of keep me on track, keep me going when things feel a little bit like, because if you leave it just rolling through your head, it's really easy to hook onto that and lose a lot of energy. So I was saying to a friend earlier on this week that when I'm doing anything to do with my training, a lot of the time particularly when I'm going through a really hard period of time, like after we got flooded out of our flat, we had to fight to be rehomed and all of that kind of stuff. I only had energy, especially being a single parent, I only had energy for one thing. I can either have the energy to train, which I love, which I really enjoy. Of course, that's my career background of like 15 years, or I have the energy to worry, spark out, freak out about everything. Now, it's going to be natural, especially in something as extreme as being flooded out of your home and having to fight to be rehomed. You're going to freak out. That's going to take a lot of energy. Single parenting, especially, neurodivergent parenting, as a neurodivergent person, it all takes a lot of energy. So I have to be really, really discerning about how I use it and how I kind of distribute that energy, because my energy is finite, and especially in my social batteries, that if I'm spending a lot of time where I'm doing client work or any sort of presenting or sharing kind of stuff, then it's all stuff that I need to go then and integrate the rest in with it all as well. So yeah, circling back. So this is where, again, the publishing of the journals probably makes a little bit more sense, because it is a huge part of the work that I do in training and in the sort of the personal growth kind of side of things, because it's on there that you can sit and assess which thoughts are useful, which ones are not helpful, and by not gaslighting yourself. So like a lot of the time, it's easy to have difficult emotions and then push them down, or use toxic positivity and go, it doesn't matter, I just need to be more positive, and that doesn't help. That energy has to go somewhere. So by writing it down, or speaking with a therapist, anything like that, that helps to let go of some of that energy, so you've got more energy free to do the things that you enjoy. But as I said in the comments as well, it's really important to kind of consider the way that you're approaching your journey as well. So it's easy for me to say, to do the things that you enjoy. You love it. For me, fitness is a massive part of my life. If I'm being entirely honest, there's periods of time where I literally eat in such a way that I can train more. If I could, I would pretty much just train all the time. I would love to run and swim and cycle and spin and lift and do yoga and surf and paddleboard and do all the things. But time wise, I guess, you know. So that's another consideration when you're looking at all the questions that I've put into the comments. Get really honest with yourself as to whether you actually enjoy the way that you're approaching your training as well. So if you don't like running, ask yourself, is there another way that you could be doing this? If it is uncomfortable or you're not enjoying exercise at all, ask yourself whether you're trying to do too much the wrong type, or whether it's something as simple as not eating enough to train. So do you really hate it, or are you hungry? Because this is one of the most common things that I tend to come across when I'm talking to people who have found it really difficult to get into their training journey or their weight loss journey, or whatever reason they've decided to get into it, is they're trying to do two things at once, namely losing weight and getting some sort of performance gain. And it's incredible. It's not impossible, but it's incredibly challenging. There needs to be a level of skill and planning and things put in place to make that something that is going to be something that is possible for you without impacting your mental health, but also your physical health, in terms of like your immunity and things like that. So taking all of that stuff and kind of pulling it all the way back in, and how can you hold space for more than one reality when exercising, healing and growing, it is really useful to look at the way that you're experiencing it, and the internal monologue that is going through your mind. Notice the stories that are coming up, particularly the ones that are wanting to keep you in your, shall we call it, your uncomfortable comfort zone. If you can start noting these down and start understanding where they come from, and working out what ways they're keeping you safe, and how true these beliefs are, these are all things that can make it a lot easier to show yourself a lot of compassion. And that's why I say write it down, because if you just keep it rolling around your head, your natural reaction, your inner critic is going to start shutting it down and start going, okay, no, you just need to work harder, you just need to do this, or you're being too sensitive. But at the end of the day, your inner critic, again, is just there to try and keep you safe and stop you from harming yourself. So when you can begin to show that internal dialogue and where it's coming from, a little bit of compassion and grace, you then again sort of open up an ability to give yourself a little bit more energy to move forward in whatever you're trying to do. I know I'm speaking a little bit vague here, but the reason why I'm quite vague with it is the scope of the different kind of goals that people kind of come to me with, is quite vast. People, a lot of my clients have been performance-based training rather than weight loss. Weight loss has tended to be something that has been a secondary, if it's there at all. But it's kind of a universal principle. If you want to make traction, you're going to have to save some energy that is used by not having compassion for yourself and rolling with that inner critic, internal dialogue. And I say this from personal experience. As I said earlier on, when I was having that conversation with my friend, I either have the energy to train and give it what I really want to give it, or I use that energy to sit and worry and criticize myself and find all the ways that I feel like I should be doing it better, or I should be more disciplined, or all these different things. And you know, this is me as someone who does this as a profession. So I think it's really important to kind of address these kind of things. So yeah, that's all I really have to say on this specific thing. In part because I think some people are like, wait a minute, I thought you worked in fitness and stuff. Why have you went and published all of these different journals? Well, originally my first degree is a BA in fashion design for industry. So my background is actually creative, and I did like a load of training and stuff and writing and stuff. But yeah, if there's something that has underpinned my fitness journey, my healing journey, my growth journey, getting through major adversity, has been being able to untangle my thoughts in journals. So I do highly recommend looking at where your thought processes are as you're working through any kind of journey. And yeah, journaling is a good way to do that. But I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, you can pop them in the comments and I will put a link. So if you want one of my journals, you can go and get them. But I'll also put my link tree in the comments so you can access some of the free courses, free resources, and paid courses and things like that I have available as well, and any coaching. So have a great day and I'll see you soon.